I'm Jamie Scanlon, and I'm one of the founders and co-organizers of Brat Rock. Today is all about bringing the kids together and putting on a great show for everybody. When I think about Brat Rock, I really think about the word connection. So it's really a way to connect. So first of all, the youth performers who are going to perform here today, to connect them with each other, to connect families, like parents who have kids who play music, to each other, so that they can interact and get their kids together to play music and find more opportunities for their kids to play music.
In the morning when I get up, I help my wife to take care of the kid. And for they be ready, my wife be ready for she go to work.
And how does it feel now knowing that things are going to be changing soon?
Crying.
No.
Crying and without happiness. Leaving my wife with all those kids is not easy for me.
Today's poem is by the Vermont resident and poet Galway Cannell, who was born in Providence, Rhode Island in 1927 and lived in Sheffield, Vermont for 43 years, while he also taught at New York University. He was a former MacArthur Fellow and State Poet of Vermont, and his selected poems won the Pulitzer Prize and the National Book Award in 1982. His many books of poetry include The Book of Nightmares, Mortal Acts, Mortal Words, The Past, and most recently, Strong is Your Hold. For many years, he was the Erica Maria Remarque Professor of Creative Writing at New York University, and he died in 2014. Why Regret by Galway Cannell. Didn't you like the way the ants help the peony globes open by eating the glue off? Weren't you cheered to see the ironworkers sitting on an I-beam dangling from a cable in a row, like starlings eating lunch, maybe bologna on white with fluorescent mustard?
Let's talk about the modification a little bit. When somebody comes in, they've got a tattoo, what should I do with it? Should I laser it off? And then you say...
Yeah, I say don't laser it, because that's expensive and painful too. And so this was a lower back tattoo that you can kind of see it's like a sun squiggly.
Yeah.
That and we went back and forth with this, redoing this image for a long time. This one spoke more to her. I don't ever recommend lasers. If the person wants it to be lighter, then that's their own decision, but I am confident that I could do a cover-up, whatever it is, even if it's completely blacked out arm. I think I could do a cover-up to
really
get something out of that, whatever it is that the person wants.
So this is a coiling technique where you have a bundle of material and you start wrapping it. Traditional coiled is very regular and very smooth and very even. and it never appealed to me, but I was sitting in this hot, dusty room in Ghana, and I realized I can do this and do it my own way. And so, because I always have a little bag of tools with me, I had the thread, I had the needles, I had what I needed, and I started coiling with plastic bags. So I tell that story because I love thinking of myself sitting in that hot, dusty room in Ghana, but also because it's a story about how pretty much any material you can find, you can adapt and use, and I do.
How's it going? I am here at the Harris Hill Ski Jump, the 95th edition of this thing. Looks really awesome and packed. I can see, I don't know how many people, maybe 200 people, maybe more than that, less than that, I don't know. There's just a bunch of people. And we're gonna see why people like to jump, who are these jumpers, and what is a jump anyways. So let's come and check it out, because I think you wanna know about this stuff. Blash, so where are you from?
Slovenia.
Slovenia. So you had a really good jump here.
Yeah, it was pretty good, yeah.
What is the longest you've jumped?
137, I think.
And 37? 137?
Yeah.
What is ski jumping in your own words?
It's more of a, it's not so physical sport than it's mental.
So I wonder who this guy is and why we're talking about him. That's a very formal picture of him, but it wasn't the way he looked all the time. It was the way he looked sometimes when he was about to be on television, but not always. I do need to tell you some background about him beyond, and perhaps about Senator McCarthy too, in order to just make them fit in to some kind of timeline that may make sense. Ed Murrow grew up poor in North Carolina and later in the state of Washington, north of Seattle. He was born in 1908. He was poor, that's true, but incredibly determined as an individual, but I think really thanks to his mother, who instilled this in all three of her boys. In one photo, he looks angry because he could not go to school with his brothers. So they gave him a book. They gave him a book to hold for this picture. He made progress from there. He's the little one on the left, and it's shot as outside the schoolhouse that they all attended for a little while.
Act 46 does not allow choice towns like Vernon to be in the same district as non-choice towns like Brattleboro, Dummerston, Guilford, and Putney. Vernon wants to maintain its 50-plus year history of grades 7 through 12 school choice. So, in August of 2016, Vernon voted in favor of leaving BUHS District 6. This was step one in order to protect school choice for its community. The second step was a vote by the other BUHS District 6 members, Brattleboro, Dummerston, Guilford, and Putney, and was required by state law. That vote happened this past December and passed in every town except for Dummerston. 5% of Dummerston's registered voters have petitioned for a revote on February 21st. If Dummerston votes yes, it will allow Vernon's withdrawal from BUHS District 6. Know that the financial implications of the withdrawal are minimal because Vernon's share of BUHS number 6 assets is equivalent to their corresponding liabilities.
It's time for us to apply the knowledge we have obtained, solve problems, build our lives, and most importantly, change the world. Thank you and congratulations, BUHS Class of 2017. Thanks, Jack. That was very well done. Told him not to set the bar too high before the ceremony started. Clearly, he didn't listen. So good evening, everybody. Thanks for coming tonight. I know the weather isn't ideal. My name is Ryan Taggart, and I have the honor of delivering our valedictory address tonight.
I'm wondering how much of this is structural when we think about how agencies are comprised and different departments, and if there needs to be something done on a structural level, or is it something really you can just go department to department and say, do you have too much here and can anything be cut back?
Both. I think the answer is because what happens in government, like anything else, you start with something, a smaller nucleus, a concept, and then you start building from there and you add ideas on. Well, that adds to bureaucracy, that adds a different level. It also adds like a silo structure. So not everything interacts and not everyone is talking with one another either.
Can you tell me what is the most important thing the select board does, and how do you see that, what you think the most important thing the select board does, how do you see that being able to help the poor and the town, and to you already on the board, what in the past, can you tell me what that as a success in terms of what the select board has done to help the poor in the community, and something that you were disappointed at? If you could add, if the three people who aren't on the board, can you go first?
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
Can we start with Brandy?
Okay, Kate. Okay, so the most important thing in this purview that I think the select board does, I guess I'm going to kind of bifurcate that, and it's upgrade infrastructures and tie together services and be collaborative. That should be two things that we can actually do, right? We should be able to get people the help they need and upgrade the infrastructure so that it's usable for the people.
I don't think it's really appropriate to just assume many of the assumptions that seem to be implicit in Mr. Agave's 5 questions. Thank you very much.
Further debate on Article 19. Question is, shall the town appropriate $1,099,975 from the unassigned fund balance as of June 30th, 2016 as a partial funding for the town's operating and capital expenses for fiscal year 2018? Are you ready for that vote? If so, all those in favor, please rise. You may be seated. All those opposed, please rise. You may be seated. And Article 19 has been approved.